learning outcomes. After studying this module, you will be able to number 1 know about sampling distribution, number 2 understand the concept of standard error and confidence level, and number 3 know about various types of sampling. Introduction. A sample distribution is a statement of the frequency with which the units of analysis that together make up a sample are actually observed in the various classes or categories that make up a variable. Sampling distribution helps in simplification of statistical inference. Distribution of random variable which is derived from a random sample of size n is known as sampling distribution. It is the probability distribution of a statistics based random sample. Sampling distribution simplifies the route to statistical inference, hence it is important in statistics. The sampling distribution depends on the underlying distribution of the population, the statistics being considered, the sampling procedure employed, and the sample size used. The mean of a sample from a population having a normal distribution is an example of a simple statistics taken from one of the simplest statistical populations. For other statistics and other populations, the formulas are more intricate and often they do not exist in closed form.
Standard error of the quantity is known as the standard deviation of the sampling distribution. In a case in which the statistics is the simple mean and the sample are not correlated, then standard error is sigma x equals to sigma divided by under root n, where sigma is the standard deviation of the population distribution of that quantity and n is the sample size. To reduce the measurement error by half, then the sample size must be multiplied by 4. Sampling error and the standard error. Even after selecting the samples randomly, sampling error cannot be avoided. Every sample mean would be exactly equal to the population mean. Since all the entries in the sampling distribution would be similar, the sampling distribution would have a mean equivalent to the population mean. The sampling variance and the standard error are measures of dispersion. Since all entries in this distribution are precisely equal to the mean, under these situations, we would be able to observe the sampling variance and standard error to be equal to 0. A zero standard error specifies that there is no sampling error. If assumptions are made that small amounts of sampling error is present, the observed statistics will be comparable to one another but not identical. This means that they will be quite related to the population's constraint. As a result, the observed sampling distribution would have a non-zero sampling variance and standard error, but both will be quite small since all statistics are related to the population constraint. With introduction of growing amounts of sampling error, the differences between the individual sample statistics and the population constraint will also grow, and the sampling variance and standard will be larger. Factors affecting sampling error. The amount of sampling error that come across decides the size of the sampling variance and the standard error, making the standard error an appropriate way of assessing sampling error. Sampling error is assessed by 1. Population variance, that is, sampling error will be larger if the population variance is larger, and secondly, by sample size. Increase in sample size will lead to decrease in the sampling error. Confidence level. Confidence intervals is of great importance to a researcher. To set the boundaries of confidence interval, the confidence level is used. Confidence level is set at 95% to coincide with the 5% convention of statistical significance in hypothesis testing. Wider, example 90%, or narrower, example 99% confidence intervals are sometimes required. The choice of confidence interval depends upon the nature of the study. The range Qx to QY is the confidence interval where Q is the value that is central to the study question. QY is the upper confidence limit and QX is the lower confidence limit. For example, a 95% confidence interval is the interval that suggests 95% certain contains the true population value as it might be estimated from a much larger study. Types of sampling methods. There are two types of sampling methods, probability and non-probability sampling methods. Every element or member of a population has non-zero probability of being selected for research. That is, they are selected randomly in case of probability sampling, whereas in case of non-probability sampling, the elements or members of a population are selected at non-random basis. Random sampling, systematic sampling, and stratified sampling are methods of probability sampling, and judgment sampling, convenience sampling, snowball sampling, and quota sampling are methods of non-probability sampling. Sampling error can be calculated in case of probability sampling, which is an advantage of this type of sampling. As we know, sampling error is the degree to which a sample may differ from a population. When inferring to the population, results are reported plus or minus the sampling error. The degree of difference of sample from the population is unknown in case of non-probability sampling. First, we are going to discuss probability sampling. Under probability sampling, we have random sampling. It is the best and the purest type of probability sampling. The samples are chosen at random and every sample has equal chance of getting selection. Second, systematic sampling. It is often used in place of random sampling. It is also known as nth name selection technique. Every nth record is chosen from a list of population members after calculation of required sample size. This method is considered to be as good as random sampling unless the list does not contain any hidden order. It is comparatively much simpler than random sampling. This type of sampling is commonly used for selection of a particular number of records from a computer file. Third, stratified sampling. It is another commonly used probability method which is better than random sampling as it decreases sampling error. A subset of population which share at least one common property or trait is known as stratum. For example, stratum can be males, females, clerks and non-clerks, etc. Relevant stratum and their actual representation is the first thing which is identified in the population. Selection of sufficient number of stratum is done using random sampling. It is used when one or more of the stratums in the population have a low incidence as compared to the other stratums. Now we are going to discuss non-probability sampling methods. First is judgment sampling. It is a common non-probability method. The researcher chooses the sample based on judgment. This is usually an extended version of convenience sampling. For example, a researcher may adopt to choose the complete sample from one illustrative city, even though the population includes all cities. When using this method, the researcher must be confident that the chosen sample is truly representative of the entire population. Next is convenience sampling. It is used mainly in exploratory research where the researcher is concerned about getting a reasonable estimation of the truth. This sample is selected because working on sample is convenient. This non-probability method is often used during initial research efforts to get overall estimate of the results without suffering the cost or time required to select a random sample. Third, snowball sampling. It is a special non-probability method used when the desired sample characteristic is rare. It may be tremendously problematic to locate samples in these situations. Snowball sampling depends on recommendations from initial subjects to generate additional subjects. Fourth, quota sampling. It is a non-probability sampling method which is similar to stratified sampling method. The researcher first recognizes the stratums and their proportions as they are represented in the population. Then, convenience or judgment sampling is used to choose the required number of subjects from each stratum. In this sampling, the stratums are not filled by random sampling, unlike stratified sampling. Coming to sampling distributions. First, normal distribution. Normal distribution is one of the most widely used statistical distribution. It is often used to represent real valued random variables whose distribution are not known. This is because of central limit theorem, which in mild conditions states that the averages of random variables independently drawn from independent distributions are normally distributed. Many of the random variables resemble normal distribution like stock returns on higher frequency. The distribution is characterized by mean and standard deviation. If a random variable x is normally distributed, that is, x is normally distributed as n mu x sigma square x, then the probability density function, that is PDF of x, is given by fx equals to 1 divided by sigma multiplied by under root 2 pi the whole multiplied by e raised to the power minus x minus mu whole square divided by 2 sigma square. Its domain is R, that is all real numbers. The total area is 1. Normal probability density function is symmetrical about the mean x, which is mu, which is equals to median and mode also. It's unimodal as its first derivative is positive for x is less than mu and negative for x is greater than mu and 0 only at x equals to mu. Its density has two inflection points where the second derivative of f is 0 and changes sign, located one standard deviation away from the mean, namely at x equals to mu minus sigma and x equals to mu plus sigma. Its second derivative f double dash x is equal to its derivative with respect to its variance sigma square. Its first and second derivative is given by minus x multiplied by fx and x square minus 1 multiplied by fx. About 68% of the area is within one standard deviation sigma away from the mean, and about 95% within two standard deviations, and about 99.7% are within three standard deviations. The cumulative distribution function CDF is given by capital F of x equals to half plus bracket begins 1 plus ERF again bracket x minus mu divided by sigma multiplied by under root 2, all the brackets closed. Symmetry around mean ensures that f of minus x equals to 1 minus fx. Z distribution. If we are given that x is approximately equal to n of mu and sigma square and the probability that x lies between two numbers a and b is to be computed, then we need to integrate the function. Probability of a less than equal to x less than equal to b equals to integration a to b 1 divided by sigma multiplied by under root 2 pi the whole multiplied by e raised to the power minus 1 by 2 of x minus mu divided by sigma whole square the whole multiplied by dx, marking it as equation 1. Since the expression in equation 1 is computationally very tedious, a set of tables is provided to calculate the probabilities. However, knowing that there can be infinite combinations of parameters mu and sigma square, and for each possible combination we would require a different table to calculate the requisite probabilities. We understand that this is practically not possible. The way out is that each normally distributed random variable is converted into a standard normal random variable called the z variable. This standardized variable is used to calculate the probabilities of all normal distributions irrespective of the values of mu and sigma square. Some of the properties of z distribution are: 1. The random variable z has an infinite range, that is from minus infinity to positive infinity. Second, the standard normal curve or Z curve is centered at its mean value 0 and is symmetrical around it. That is, area on both the sides of the mean is 0.5. That is, probability of minus infinity is less than equal to Z is less than equal to 0 is probability of 0 is less than equal to Z is less than equal to positive infinity equals to 0.5. Third, its point of inflection occurs at plus minus 1. Here, you should notice that for normal distribution, it occurs at mu plus minus 1 standard deviation. For Z curve, since mu is 0 and sigma equals to 1, therefore 0 plus minus 1 into 1 equals to plus minus 1. Fourth, the cumulative distribution function of Z phi Z equals to probability of Z less than equal to small z, which is equal to integration of minus infinity to z f of y 0 and 1 multiplied by dy. Fifth, the respective limits covering 68.27%, 95.45% and 99.73% of area under the standard normal distribution are given by plus minus 1, plus minus 2 and plus minus 3. That is, probability of minus 1 is less than equal to z is less than equal to 1 equals to 0.6827, which is equals to 2p of 0 is less than equal to z is less than equal to 1, which is equals to 2 multiplied by 0.34135, and p of minus 2 is less than equal to z is less than equal to 2 equals to 0.9545, which is equals to 2p of 0 is less than equal to z is less than equal to 2, which is equal to 2 multiplied by 0.47725, and probability of minus 3 is less than equal to z is less than equal to 3 equals to 0.9973 equals to 2p of 0 is less than equal to z is less than equal to 2 equals to 2 multiplied by 0.49865. T distribution. If a random sample with size n is drawn from a normal population with a given mean mu, then a random variable t defined as t equals to x bar minus mu divided by s divided by under root n has a probability distribution termed as the t distribution with degrees of freedom equal to 1 less than the size of the sample, that is n minus 1. Here s is defined as equal to under root summation I equals to 1 to n xi minus x bar the whole divided by n minus 1, and x bar equals to sigma I equals to 1 to n xi upon n. It is important to notice here that the same formula we used earlier for z, then why now is it being denoted as a new variable t? This is because the size of the sample is small here, and as a result, t distribution deviates considerably from that of the standard normal distribution. It is the substitution of s in place of sigma that makes t more variable than the standard normal variable z. The t distribution has only one parameter, which is number of degrees of freedom, abbreviated as df, that in turn depends on the size of the sample. It is denoted by the Greek letter v and is read as nu. The distribution is said to be completely specified if the value of degrees of freedom is known. Therefore, the t distribution is denoted as t nu, implying that it is always defined for a given degrees of freedom equals to nu. The values that degrees of freedom can take are the positive integers starting from 1, 2, 3 and so on. As the value of degrees of freedom increases, the T nu curve becomes less spread out and more concentrated at the center. Thus, unlike Z distribution, the T distribution is a family of distributions. Each T nu curve is centered at 0, suggesting that E of T nu equals to 0. Each T nu curve is bell-shaped and symmetric about its mean, that is 0. This indicates that probability of t nu being greater than equal to 0 is equal to probability of t nu being less than equal to 0, which is equal to 0.5. The t nu curve has thicker tails, suggesting that it has greater variability than the standard normal curve. The variance of t curve depends on the size of the sample and is always greater than 1. That is, v of t nu equals to nu divided by nu minus 2, where nu is greater than 2. However, as nu increases, v of t nu tends to 1. That is, the t nu curve approaches the standard normal curve. As nu tends to infinity, the two curves becomes the same. F distribution. In addition to the T distribution, the F distribution also plays an important role in connection with sampling from a population that is normally distributed. While doing confidence interval estimation and hypothesis testing that involve two different population distributions, the investigator necessarily needs to know whether the two population distributions have equal spread or not, because depending upon the variability of the two distributions, the investigator decides whether to use pooled variance or two sample procedure for making inferences related to two sample means. If the two distributions have equal variances, then a common, also called pooled variance, must be estimated from the same sample data before proceeding with final analysis. It is the F distribution that concerns testing of variability of the two independent population distributions around their respective means. Some of the properties of F distribution are: 1. The F distribution has two parameters, nu1 and nu2. The parameter nu1 equals to n1 minus 1 is called the number of degrees of freedom of the numerator, and nu2 equals to n2 minus 1 is the number of degrees of freedom of the denominator. Both nu1 and nu2 are positive integers. The F distribution is said to be completely identified if nu1 and nu2 are known. Second, the F random variable cannot assume a negative value. Since it is a ratio of two chi-squared variables, and a chi-squared variable itself by definition is a ratio of only positive numbers. Therefore, F random variable is always a positive number. Unlike the t and z random variables that range from minus infinity to positive infinity, the F variable starts with a minimum value of 0 on the horizontal axis and tends to any positive number. Third, the density curve of F distribution is not symmetric in nature. Rather, it is skewed to the right. Now, let us understand the applications in forensic science. The statistical implication of sampling is one consideration amongst others for a forensic scientist when determining how many recovered items of the same generic type to compare with a control sample. In place of evaluating large number of samples which are identical, sampling can be done to evaluate a sufficient number of samples for giving appropriate results. Sampling helps a forensic scientist to ease his work and perform a better, efficient, and cost effective analysis. For example, if a teacher wants to compare the average level of extroversion in the group of boys versus the group of girls, he can use t-test for this purpose. T-tests are very common in psychology because they can be used to compare any two groups in an experiment. If you do an experiment where you ask some people to eat healthy food and some people to eat unhealthy food, such as candy, you could then test them on some variables such as whether they get a stomachache. A t-test would again be used here because you are comparing two different groups. You can use t-test to compare two groups that occur naturally, such as boys versus girls, or you can compare two groups that you have created in an experiment.
Summary. The distribution of random variable which you derived from a random sample of size n is known as sampling distribution. Standard error of the quantity is known as the standard deviation of the sampling distribution. Even after selecting the samples randomly, sampling error cannot be avoided. Sampling error is assessed by population variance and sample size. To set the boundaries of confidence interval, confidence level is used. The choice of confidence interval depends upon the nature of the study. There are two types of sampling methods, probability and non-probability sampling methods. Random sampling, systematic sampling, and stratified sampling are methods of probability sampling and judgment sampling. Convenient sampling, snowball sampling, and quota sampling are methods of non-probability sampling. Sampling error can be calculated in case of probability sampling, which is an advantage of this type of sampling. Normal distribution is often used to represent real valued random variables whose distribution are not known. Each normal distributed sample random variable is converted into a standard normal random variable called the Z variable. The t distribution has only one parameter, which is number of degree of freedom. F distribution also plays an important role in connection with sampling from a population that is normally distributed.